What's good, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the show. Race for Europe is back tonight. We are waiting for LB and we are waiting for Maz, but they'll be with us. There's plenty of people joining us tonight. As always, the regulars are back. Dan United in the house. Errol here. Billy here. Big up Lawless and big up Pete. Errol was here. He's
Errol's
decided
fucked up. The show's picked up now, eh?
Yeah, that's it. Didn't want to hear from him anyway. Do you know what I mean? Wow, what a week! Wow, what a weekend of football. Everyone played each other pretty much, didn't they? It's crazy. It really is. I can't lie. It's absolutely crazy to have a game week four, and pretty much everybody was against each other. Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool, Villa, Brighton, Newcastle, and then West Ham and Man City, both picking up W's as well. There's only really one place to start, and that, of course, is the goings on at Manchester United. I don't quite understand what on earth is going on at that football club. However, at the weekend, taking the emotion out of it, taking the last minute gasp winner, there was some positives and negatives, I think, anyway, from both Man United and Arsenal. But unfortunately for you, Dan, you went away on the end of a loss. I've got to say, bro, from my point of view, this is what my take of the game was. I thought it was a poor standard of football in terms of both the sides. I think it really does show how far Arsenal and Manchester United have come as football clubs, particularly the stature of both clubs the last 25 years. We've actually been rivals that have gone for Premier League titles, that have got into finals of top competitions, that have won top competitions, that have won trophies. And I look at both the clubs and I think, it's quite embarrassing to how far we've fallen. And there's still problems at both the clubs. Now, we got away with it. We got the 3 points. I felt we deserved the win. There's a lot of Man United fans that felt that it's a little bit lucky that Arsenal were and that Manchester United deserved something out of the game. There were some positives, right?
They're idiots. They're idiots.
There's so many negatives at your club right now. It was poor, and I looked at it like this. Yeah, you could say it was fairly even. I don't think either side created much, if I'm honest. Right? Havertz should have scored, Mr. Sitter. Saka should have scored in the second half, Mr. Sitter. The goals that went in. Obviously, yours was offside. For me, it proved that we had more quality on our bench than you did because we brought on Gabriel Jesus and Fabio Vieira, obviously linked up for the goal. You brought on Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire. Mate, there's so many problems at your club, bro. I don't understand it. Then you hear today Ten Hag's having fights now with Sancho. Sancho's giving it back to him. This is a mess, Dan. This is a mess, bro. Talk to me.
Yeah, look, I went to the gym before here, right? I went to the gym. I thought, clear my head, do some running, 5K. Inspiration will come to me and I'll be able to tell you guys exactly what is going wrong. And I can honestly sit here and tell you, I got nothing. I got absolutely nothing. As a team, to say there's any positive vibes coming from the club at the moment is wrong. To say that we've moved forward as a club is wrong. I think we're actually in a worse position now than we were when he took over. And that's shocking to say, really. That's shocking to say.
Wow.
It is.
Wow.
It is.
I'm going to let you land, but I'm going to bring you back to that one. Continue,
You can
friend.
bring me back wherever you want, mate, with your circle head on WhatsApp. So, no, look, Ten Hag has to take blame. He does. Look, I'm not an idiot. I'm not an idiot. Do I back the guy? Yes, I do still back him, but he has to take some of the blame. He does. There is a lot. I keep saying this word every week on this fucking show. Naivety. I don't say this with any disrespect to Ajax. I don't say this with any disrespect to the Dutch league, but this isn't the Dutch league. This is the Premier League. It's a different beast. Two different clubs. What works at Ajax doesn't work at Manchester United. Do I think that I've seen calls for him to go already, and I think that's ridiculous. I think that's just reactive. I do think he has got to get this next 2 weeks. He has got to have a look at exactly what has gone wrong so far, not just in the season, the pre-season. In the pre-season, I mean, we got obviously that win against Arsenal, and everyone said, "Here we go. This is going to be a good season." We were brought back down to earth quite quickly with the other friendlies. We have to look at the squad. has he bought right? I think I've pretty much said that he hasn't. He has to take some of the blame for the signings. I'm not willing to go off at Onana yet. I'm not. I think Onana was brought into the club to do a certain thing, and I think the players around him can't do what he wants to do. It's inexcusable that we don't have a new defender this season. It's inexcusable that we're signing Johnny Evans, and Johnny Evans is coming on to try and shore up the game for us away at Arsenal. It's inexcusable. And Lawless, you made a comment in the chat, and I actually agree with you on this. I actually thought Anthony did look quite good on Sunday. However, the news that comes out today, and I don't know if you guys remember, I actually brought this up about 3 or 4 months ago. I said that this had happened, and it seemed to go under the carpet a little bit. It's bad character. It's bad character. Honestly, I said it from the start. He's a wrong-un. He looks a fucking wrong-un anyway. The only thing I will say is this now is going to define Ten Hag. I said on the show a couple of weeks ago that Ten Hag wanted Greenwood back. I think we can all agree that was the way it was going. Unless the club suspend Anthony, which I hope they do, I see him picking him. I really do. And that is a worry because Anthony cannot be anywhere near the starting 11 with this going on in the background. And it just, I get Trevorelli, whatever you are saying, innocent to proven guilty, mate. But no, you can't. Not with these allegations. You can't, I'm afraid. There are so many holes in this team. There's so many. And we talked such chess last season about he's come in, he's changed the culture. It's not changed. There are bad eggs there still. The Sancho situation straight after the game, I don't think that Sancho was in the right for doing that. I don't see him playing for the club unless there's this next 2 weeks a lot of grovelling. It wouldn't have happened under Fergie. I've seen it happen at Arsenal. I've seen it happen at City, where players with these sort of attitudes come out and say something, they're gone. But I've just got such a worry at Manchester United now that even if he does see sense and doesn't pick Anthony, he'll just throw Bruno out on the right, which is not what we need. Bruno has to
He was awful, by the way. Bruno was awful.
He was. I completely agree. So it's a mess. It's an absolute mess at Manchester United. I can't believe I'm saying this after the end of the season, finishing third with a cup. It was like I sat there. I thought this is perfect. We're going to move forward here. You know, I banged the drum about the Glazers. You know, I banged the drum about the whole background of the club. But Ten Hag's got to take the L on this. He's got to take the L on the way he's setting the club up. He's got to take the L on the players that he seems to persist with when they're out of form. He's got to take the L on the fact that he doesn't seem to want to change things. He's got to take the L on not being strong enough to say to Maguire, either go or you're in the reserve or you're under 23s, mate. He's got to take the L on not being strong enough with the hierarchy and saying these are the players that I want out of my club. These are the players that I don't want them anywhere near. But it's not happened. The problem we've got as well is, as I said last week, he's suddenly turned into a Glazer sympathiser. He doesn't seem to fight what we all know is going wrong. Last season, he was very much a voice of the fans, I felt, and it really helped. This season, it just feels like he's maybe been told, shut the fuck up or you're gone. I don't know. But look, it's terrifying. But, and this is where you're going to laugh at me. This is where you're all going to laugh at me. I still think top 5 is there. I really do. And let me finish when I say this. The reason I say this is clubs around us aren't exactly lighting the world up. Obviously, the top clubs like City are absolutely, smashing it. I can see you looking. West Ham have started strong. I'll give you your flowers for that. But I do kind of look at it, and I don't see teams around me absolutely smashing it. I don't see Chelsea doing anything that makes me think, fucking hell, we need to be in and around them. I don't. Spurs at the moment have started well. We've seen this with Spurs so many times before, where they've started the season really well, and it doesn't last. So maybe it's me being hopeful. Maybe it's me being naive. We'll go with naive, but I still think that we've got the chance to finish top 5. The other side of it as well is we've got the players after the international break coming back. We've got Reguilon will have had a couple of weeks training with us. Amrabat will be back. there are some bits to look forward to. We've got 4 games ahead of us that I think potentially we can pick stuff up from. But the main thing is we can't panic. We can't, as a fan base, we can't turn on Ten Hag. We can't throw it like that because, again, and I will say this, that's what the fucking Glazers want. Any fucking bad press that's not on them, they don't give a fuck. So, as you can tell by my voice, it's almost gone. I am spent. I am in the bedroom tonight. I've been banished upstairs because she was worried I was going to be screaming and shouting. In the words of Ian Beale, I've got nothing left. I got nothing left.
Let's come to somebody else, man. Let's come to Errol because do you know what, Errol? A couple of weeks ago, I stuck up for Ten Hag. What LB was saying about how you felt he wasn't the right man for Man United. We questioned whether he was the right man for Man United, and the reason I did that is because with the window still open, I just felt like there was problems ahead of him, man, above him. But I'm afraid at the weekend, there's a time where you've got to look at the manager and question what the hell's going on because I don't see a style of play. I saw smash it up to Rashford and hope for the best, and it almost worked because they scored from it. And Rashford, good player, man. Let's have it right. But for me, I'm questioning the defence there from Arsenal. There's one place he's going and one place only. You know he's going to cut in on his right and shoot. So I don't know what White and Saliba are doing there. However, having said that, good strike, good finish. Garnacho comes in and scores, and everyone thinks Manchester United have won it. But other than that, I think Ramsdale made one save against Martial.
We had 2 shots on target, mate.
Can't remember. There we go. So there wasn't much there, right? I didn't see a lot from Ten Hag. The substitutions, yeah, okay. Maybe he had no choice because of the injuries. But it's got to be better for me, Errol. It's got to be better, man. And there's problems at United.
100%, mate. 100%. Dan, my favourite singer in the world is Adele, bro. I'll let you know. But that right there, that was music to my ears. You was hitting all the notes right there in that little monologue you just
explains
gave.
a lot. Bro, explains a lot that you're an Adele fan. That you're an Adele fan.
I love it. I love it, bro. But I love what you just did even more. That was absolute gold, bro. Because you know what it is, yeah? Ten Hag showed his true colours because your season is going to rest on the ability to beat the rest. You just mentioned those 4 games that you've got coming up now. We're going to see very quickly how capable and how probable your chances of getting into top 4 will remain after those 4 games because you've done it last season. Your away form against the big 6, even more 7, 8, 9 is woeful, but you still managed to squeeze into top 4. So that tells me that you are dispatching all the teams that Man U should dispatch. If this season, however, you fail to dispatch those teams, you can't then rely on beating the big boys because he's not got it. He showed his true colours right now in X amount of games. I don't know, you'd probably know more than me than the exact number, but in the amount of games he's played away from home against the top teams, he hasn't come out with a W yet. He's held draws, or has he got one? Has he got one?
I think he's got the one, mate. I think.
Oh, one. He's played us. He played us this time last season at your gaff. But again, we're talking about away. We're talking about away predominantly. But either way, against the big boys, your form is absolutely woeful. And I think it's sad. At the minute, you can't seem to have a conversation about Man United without bringing in the off-the-field stuff that just drags down the integrity of a club the size of Man United. So just when you think you've heard the last of it with Greenwood, all of a sudden, less than 3 months later down the line, Anthony's dragging the name through all this level of disrepute as well now. So it's just be getting too much. And at what point do you turn around and say, well, these rotten apples, these bad characters and bad actors that you've got in the club, who's bringing them in? Who's actually looking? And again, obviously, it is very difficult, and I'm not pointing the finger at Man U in a sense to say that Man U are way off base from having Greenwood. You couldn't have known a Greenwood situation. He came through the ranks. It's different. Anthony's come in, and he's had that stuff going on before he's fully joined the club, and it's been a long-winded process. But these things are happening, and it's front and centre. It's actually right there, front and centre for the whole world to see. You've got all your dirty laundry being aired, and you know what? You get away with it to an extent, and you're never going to get away with the level of accusations, but you get away with the noise if the performances on the pitch were up to a certain standard. But the most worrying thing for me with Ten Hag is, and you mentioned Spurs there before, and he got off to a really solid start, and all credit to the team at Spurs at the moment that are doing that behind the scenes, and the players for actually stepping up. but it's only taken him a handful of months to really implement what it is he's trying to achieve. Is that the finished article for Spurs? No. Are they a million miles away from it? Who knows? They might be 60% up to their best full capacity, but we don't know. But Ten Hag, as you said, mate, he looks like he's gone backwards. This time last year, it looked better, and he was working with more of the old stuff. This wasn't his stuff back then.
Yeah.
He was just picking up the reins from what Ollie had left. Whereas now he's had a whole year, calendar year. He's had the year experience under his belt of the Prem. He knows what to expect. You're going to the Emirates. You're going to a team that was looking to push for a title last season. So how do we be more resolute? How do we be more structured in our defensive duties, so that when we get a chance to go and attack, we're not leaving ourselves open at the back and absolutely just shit in the bed when their lads are flying at us down the wing and whatever. There's no defensive plan for when you're in a tough away ground, but there's no actual style of football that you can say, wow, you're really balling out at the minute. You've got a lot of fluidity. You look dangerous at the moment. It's more than a mess, mate, because it's an absolute shit show. And I always say it comes from the top down, but at the minute, it's like, you get a house that's got damp sometimes, and you think it's just on the one spot, and the next minute you get the guy in to come and look at it, the contractor, and he tells you you've got rising damp all the way from the basement right through to your attic, and you've got to get some serious work done on the gaff. And right now, that's how it feels with Man U. And just by removing one little asset or the next, it's not going to fix all of your problems. There needs to be wholesale, cultural, systematic and systemic changes within Man U. And unfortunately, to be blunt with you, that takes time. That's not an overnight job. And your fans will lose the patience, and it will be Ten Hag that suffers as a result of all of that mishandling. And I don't feel sorry for him. I'm not going to feel sorry for him. He's a Man U manager, but he's left holding a shit bad day, mate. And I think he's probably regretting actually signing up for what he's actually got into bed with at the minute. I genuinely do, mate, because if you look at it, it's going to take time. Do you think your fans are going to give him the time to unravel all of this and unpack it and put it right? And again, that's not even against him. That could be anyone. Bro, Klopp could go into your club in this state right now. You'd look at it and probably think, shit, what have I got myself into? Pep be the same. Eddie Howe. David Moyes would look at it right now and think, shit, I can't do this job. He's up against it, mate.
He had to go last time and he didn't do very well.
Well, he's already had to go on it. Yeah, he's not going to get a second swing of that bat.
But Errol, I think, and this is the thing that worries me a little bit with Ten Hag. As a manager, you've got to look at something and say, this isn't working. This ain't working. Okay, regardless of...
It's all not working. But if you turn around and say one thing's not working, it's all gone. But realistically, you've got in a position where you can't even...
I'll go on mute. I'll let you finish. Go on.
No. Go on.
Can we just mute the both of you? Because it's all Errol, Dan United. Look, we all want to say how shit Man United are. We all got to say on how shit
whatever you're ready,
and how finished this club. What you need is cultural wholesale changes. These changes are never coming, Errol. They're never coming. They're never going to change.
But that's the reality, though. Is that not the reality, though? The reality is they need to happen.
Yeah, but they're not, because this is the reality under the Glazers. They've just taken the club off the market, so they're not selling, and they can sack Ten Hag. They can go.
Power play.
Oh no, yeah. Keep smoking the coke.
Wallace, they can't afford to stay, mate. They can't afford to stay. They can't afford it, mate. That is a power play.
They're not getting the price they want. They value it at a very high price. No one's willing to pay it. And I think for the short term, you seem to be stuck with him. And you can sack Ten Hag and go and pinch De Zerbi and think that's going to solve all your problems. And, we got De Zerbi, and you're all going to fucking cheer over it and celebrate. De Zerbi's going to do this. It's going to be the same. You're going to be an in and out of top 4 team for a very, very long time. And that team, I looked at that, I watched that game and I was like, it was 2 poor teams, but I just was like, this is
toothless, mate. It was toothless.
Average. I looked at that team and I just looked at the bench and I looked at what you had. And I thought, wow, there is nothing really special about this Man United team, man. It is a far cry.
Right now, looking at your side, looking at what you've got, the whole house, where do you take pride as a Man United fan?
Well, Doris, the tea lady, is a bloody good worker. She seems to, really put a good shift in. No, mate, look.
It used to be the academy. It used to be the young kids.
It did. But the
It used
thing
to be
is,
the
mate, the whole
marquee
thing.
signings.
Errol,
Dan's not even
Errol,
disagreeing. He
Errol,
knows. He knows.
Errol,
Dan knows.
the whole fucking thing. If you want me to be, I can't get angry, right? I got angry last year about it, and there's me getting angry, sitting here and screaming and shouting. The club's rotten. The fucking training ground's rotten. The stadium's rotten. The people we bring in is rotten. The coaching staff are rotten. The owners are rotten. There's nothing I can say. There's nothing I can say. There is nothing I can say that you don't know, that you don't know, that he don't know, that he don't know, that he don't know, that the people that are fucking watching this know. It is a fucking joke. Now, I can sit here and scream and shout about it, right? It's not worth my fucking health. It's not worth it because that's what Manchester United are doing to the fucking fans. There are so many fans, right? Fuck it, right? Let's have it. There are so many fucking fans. I didn't want to do this tonight, and this is what you've done to me. There are so many fans that started this fucking season. Manchester United fans, right? They turn up at Old Trafford on game day with their badges in their hats and their fucking hearts swelled. This is a new season, expecting us to be able to close the gap on Arsenal. Some of them even expecting, I mean, there were fucking pundits out there that said, United second. Okay? It's bullshit. If nobody could have seen the mess that we are fucking in from the first pre-season game, then they are fucking idiots. In fact, I will coin the great fucking, what's his name? Nigel Pearson. They're ostriches. Their heads are in the sand and they don't know what the fuck's going on. The problem is no one, and honestly, Lawless, I find myself this season agreeing with him more and more, and I hate it. But it doesn't matter who you bring in. It doesn't matter who you bring in. If Pep decides tomorrow, fuck's sake, I've done that, I'm going to United, I guarantee Pep would walk after 2 or 3 months. Okay? It is a fucking mess. Now, Ten Hag, has he backed himself before taking the job and thought, yeah, I can do that, no problem? Probably has. Is he realizing now that the fucking mess is bigger than what anybody thought? Definitely. But he has to be accountable for some of the decisions he makes. I cannot sit here and say the club's a fucking mess, the club's a cancer, the owners are a cancer. Okay? He has to take accountability. Now, what else can I say? What else can I do to sit here and not get more and more fucking angry about it? Last season, we thought we cleared the mess. We had the Greenwood situation. We had the Ronaldo situation. That was gone. This season, we're right back where we started. There's nothing I can say. There's nothing I can do. All I can do is sit here, maybe fucking deluded, maybe being fucking naive, sit here and say, yeah, I do think we can finish top 5. But that's just blind faith. The problem is blind faith only fucking takes you so far. And there has to come a moment when those fucking superstars, and I do that because they don't look in the fucking mirror, but they need to go home to their expensive fucking mansions with their expensive cars and their expensive pool tables with their fucking initials on it. Go to their big fucking expensive mirrors, look at it, and understand that they are not all that, okay? Individuals may produce moments of magic. That's why it's called moments of magic. To do anything in the fucking league, to do anything as a football team, you play as a team. Attitude, application. That is what you need. And at the moment, none of them have it. None of them. Rashford sits there and says, yeah, I want to win the Premier League. Fuck off, Rashford. You ain't winning the Premier League with Manchester United. You ain't winning the Premier League with Manchester United. It is an absolute mess. Absolute mess.
There's a reason for that, Dan, and it starts from the top. I personally think there's a reason why. I've got a few things about Man United, and then I'll go into, if you don't mind, about the game. Man United are now that they remind me of what Liverpool were for 20 years.
100%.
There was that team, like Liverpool. No, and this is not.
Errol, you can squeeze your nose, mate, but he is.
I'm not disrespecting you, but I think you'll agree. For like 20 years, it was always, this is our season. We're going to be there. We're going to challenge, and it never quite happened. It never quite got there. You had good seasons, some seasons like the season on the Rafa when you finished second and you were there, and then next season, we're going to be there, we're going to win the league, and then it never happened. Man United are that right now. And Man United are now no longer the team that everyone wants to go and play for. They're the team that a player will know that they're going to a historic club and they'll get paid a shitload of money, but there's no project there. There's no project. There's no direction with Man United. There's no right. Over 2 or 3 years, this is what we want to achieve at Man United. Man United are a team where they go from season to season and they'll go, right, let's see where we end up. You won a trophy last season. You finished third. I understand why Man United fans that you talked about, Dan, with their pins on and their hearts full about the season, because you had a half-decent season. You picked up a trophy. You finished third. In their minds as Man United fans, you would think, we're going to kick on again. But under this regime, under this ownership, under this umbrella of people that don't know what the fuck they're doing at the top end of the club, it's going to fall flat. And this is what's happening again. And it doesn't matter what manager is in charge. You've had some of the best managers in the world at times. You've had a manager that apparently knew the club and was part of the DNA in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And he did get you up there challenging at one point. But it's never going to be sustainable. And the only way that's going to change is if you sell the club. Now, look, I had 18 months of it with the takeover before ours happened. I called it over 6 months ago when it was all going to be wrapped up, even with the Liverpool one that never really materialized.
Yeah.
Those takeovers and those things, when they're in the public, don't happen. They don't happen when you expect them to. They're one of those things where it just comes out of nowhere. And on October the 3rd or 4th, what it was, October the 7th, 2.5 years ago, ours just came out of the blue and nobody expected it. Well, we had 18 months where it was constantly rammed down our throats that it was going to happen. And the problem is that the Glazers are loving it. They're loving the exposure. They're loving everyone talking about the club. And this is what they want. They're feeding off it. Their businesses and everything is booming right now because everyone's talking about Manchester United. And I
said this, Pete, and this is the thing I said about with the Cronkies, right? When Arsenal was like, I said to the fans, like, moaning, still going, buying the shirts, going to the buying the beers, blah, blah, blah. Man United fans are the same, Gary Neville and all the pundits, they sit there every year moaning about the Glazers. And then in the same breath, they'll go, where do you think Man United? Oh, I think they'll get second. They'll definitely finish above. What's the problem there?
The Man United club shop to sell those Norwich scarves, man.
I get it though, Dan. It's their club. It's their club. We were the same. Like, we had fucking Mike Ashley for 14 years. It was an absolute nightmare, right? We were shit. We got relegated twice. We were awful, dreadful, right? Which is why I appreciate where we are right now. But at the same time, you love your club. And no matter how much you hate it, you want to go back. Like with the Arsenal fans, Dan Potts, with all the stuff for the Cronkies, you were still going to games, I imagine. You were still going supporting the club. Dan United, you were still going supporting the club. That's what happens because you love your club and you want to back your club no matter what. I want to talk about the game on Sunday.
Pete, sorry, before you go on, I just wanted to go on a point you said, mate, because that's the other thing here is you look at clubs, you look at managers when they come in, they have a plan of where they want to be, of a project as such. And it just feels like we got last season out of the way, and I don't see what the plan is. Do you know what I mean? And that is a concern. We've
got to talk about Arsenal, Dan. I know you want to cry about Man United all night, but there was 2 teams in this, and we got to talk about how shit Arsenal were, even though they won. They weren't as good.
I was going to say that was the point I was going to make. I actually think
Pete. They're into it.
I actually think Arsenal were there for the taking on Sunday. I genuinely think Arsenal were there for the taking. I don't think Arsenal played well. And I think Man United had moments and your best players, your biggest players let you down. Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes were absolutely shocking. They were shocking in moments where they could have won the game for you and could have produced big moments, and they didn't. And that's the thing that you've got. You've got your big players that at times will do good work for you and get you to a certain point. But in the big games, the games that it matters, the games that make the difference, where your Odegaards, where your Declan Rice now, and your players like that will make the difference. Your big boys don't, and that's the biggest problem. But I was surprised by Arsenal. I thought Arsenal would pick you apart, and they didn't. And yeah, I don't.
Listen, we haven't been convincing all season so far, Arsenal. I've said that every week. I ain't been convinced. Ain't been convinced. Listen, you can get caught up in the emotions, and Arsenal fans did it the last kick of the game. Who's not going to be happy beating Man United, who, let's be real, in the last 25 years have actually been our rivals? Do you know what I mean? Everyone goes on about Spurs. They're not our rivals. Geographically, they're next door to us, but they don't win anything, yeah? We've gone through the proper games, and Dan, you'll know the Roy Keane and the Vieira times and the Fergie and Wenger times. So fair play, everyone's going to be happy. But I said it at the start, you look at the stature of the clubs and where they are now, and Arsenal fans and Man United fans are laughing at each other. Who had the better season? We got a trophy. You did. Hang on a minute. Aren't we supposed to be Man United and Arsenal here? Winning Carabao Cups is a top set. So for me, of course it is, right? Go on, Errol, quick, go on.
No, when was the last time it was Man U and Arsenal vying for it top spot?
This is my point. This is my point. And this is the thing. You've got the whole build up for the game was Keane and Vieira in the tunnel. That was 20 years ago, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's bizarre for me. Anyway, the game itself, I agree with Pete. I thought we were there for the taking. I think we have been there for the taking most games so far. Haven't been convinced yet. But we turned up with it. Our subs won us the game, in my opinion. That, for me, changed it. I thought Declan Rice was great, even though Lawless thought he'd give a 4 out of 10 performance. I thought he was quality. So I was a big fan of Declan Rice's performance. But apparently, that's only a 4 out of 10. I can't wait for Lawless to give him the 8 out of 10 or the 9 out of 10. I can't wait for those ones because I tell you now, this will be a fantastic performance.
He gets extra points for scoring a goal, of course. He gets extra points for scoring, but the overall performance, it was. I mean, he didn't really do much wrong. Maybe it was a 5. He didn't really do much wrong, but he didn't do anything where you can go, oh my god, that was brilliant. It was a lot of sideways, backwards passing. Typically. I've said to you, I've seen him play for us a lot of times. We would never come out of a stadium if he had a game like that and go, oh, Declan Rice today, what a player we've got. So it's obvious that you guys are getting hyped because you've paid a lot of money for him. So you're in that situation where everything's rose-tinted glasses. I got accused for that. What you did there is what I got accused of when Paqueta came on against Spurs last season, right? Remember? And I was like, because I was going, oh, you can see this. And Tobes was saying, oh, you're just getting hyped because of Paqueta. You're just getting hyped, man. And I'm not saying he's a shit player. I didn't say he's played shit. But just slow down. Give him the plaudits. I mean, look, scoring a last-minute winner.
Tobes was right.
What?
Tobes was right.
You've just done that. What have you done? What have you done?
Sam, clip.
Nothing. Enjoy the last-minute winner, of course, but keep our fucking names out your mouth, Arsenal fans, because I heard you were singing about us, and all this crap about with Declan Rice and all this shit. You can't just forget about us. I didn't bring up Declan Rice. I never even tweeted about him. I never messaged about him. Everyone else wants to bring him up. Everyone else wants to try and poke the bear.
Who messaged about him then? Because it weren't me.
It was Deluded D. That's who did. That's who messaged about him. Oh, he's such a better fit for Arsenal than at West Ham. Like he didn't do any of that shit that he did there at West Ham. We see that. That's just, like I said, bang average Declan Rice. Declan Rice, he's not, at top of his game, Declan Rice. We've seen that. So what are you seeing there that he did in that game that he couldn't do at West Ham, that he didn't do at West Ham? I don't know.
What's wrong with saying that he's been our best player for the first 4 games?
But I'm talking about this game. I'm saying when you're sitting there lauding him,
you just told me to calm down. All I've said is that he's been our best player for the first 4 games, and you're saying calm down. He's done that before the West Ham shirt. I didn't say he hasn't. I think he's been quality for West Ham. I told you I thought he was a quality signing when we signed him. I told you for ages, and you were you think you're going to get signed Rice? You think you're going to sign Declan Rice? We're the Arsenal. We're the Arsenal.
I tell you what. I tell you what. What the funny thing is. You signed Rice and you've got worse. We sold Rice and we've got better. Work that one out, Potts. Work that one out. We're the Arsenal. Yeah, and the Arsenal were worse with Declan Rice and the West Ham, are better with so you ain't talking about that. I ain't hearing Arsenal fans singing about that in the Emirates, in the library, Why aren't Arsenal fans singing about that? Oh, you sold your star, and we've got even worse, or whatever the fuck.
You know what? You should be happy. Do you know why? Because we've made West Ham better by signing your captain. You should be happy, mate. You should be happy.
You've made yourselves worse.
So no more crying, no more saltiness, no more fighting with Errol about what time of the season you should have sold him. All this rubbish. We've got Declan Rice. He's doing well. I'm happy.
But you're not.
happy. West Ham. What do you mean?
I'm just saying, you look worse. Explain that. You
That's
look
not because
worse
of
than
Declan
last
Rice, though,
season.
is it? It's not
I'm
because
not
of
saying it's
Declan Rice,
because of
though, is it?
Declan Rice. But you spend 105 million. You want to be getting better. You want to elevate yourself. But really and truly, I've said this for the past 2 weeks, right? And Arsenal fans in the chat, you didn't want to hear it. I said you are not going to be anywhere near as good this season as you were last season.
Yeah, but
Didn't
you
wanna
said
hear
it because you said it was because of the Champions League. It's not the Champions
Not
League
just
at the moment.
Champions
Things
League.
we've got. Go on.
Not just the Champions League. Not just the Champions League. I just said, that's not sustainable, right? For you, this 2 seasons in a row, you have not got the squad to sustain that. And yeah, the Champions League, you're going to dip. You're going to dip when the Champions League comes. And then you're going to blame, we got a young squad. What do you expect? We got a young team. We can't expect
Well, I'm not going to be saying that, but our fan base will, yeah.
I'm not
Listen,
bitter. People say I'm bitter, yeah. I'm chilling.
You don't sound it. You don't sound it at all.
Look at
You don't
the
sound it
table.
one bit.
Look at the table. Look at the
Oh
table.
my God.
Only 4 games, bro. Just
Are we
chill.
doing this? Are we actually doing this already?
Oh,
4 games in.
Sorry,
Come on,
right?
Come on.
This is double standards FC on this show, right? Double standards FC. Because the amount of times I hear it about your clubs, yeah, that you have these great starts or whatever, and we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. Oh, we're brilliant. Like Arsenal fans are hyping. Oh, we're unbeaten in our first 4 games. We're unbeaten. Look, and we're gonna get even better than this. Oh, I see someone in the chat who's like, oh yeah, look, we haven't even got out of second gear yet. So, implying that there's more gears to go into. So what? I can't sit there and I can't look at our first 4 games, right? And I can't be happy with that. And I can't feel like we're going to get better. I can't feel like we're going places, but you lot can. What is the meaning of
You're
this?
going to stay. Are you going to remain 2 points off City till game week 38?
I fucking hope not.
Well, did you remain above City until game week 38? Did you remain above City until game week 38 last season?
What are you bringing up us for? I didn't mention Arsenal. I mentioned West Ham.
I think is with Lawless, there's half of what you're saying is true, but what you forget to remember sometimes is you, from your position, you're looking up at teams that historically have got track records to suggest that when they hit the ground running and when things are going the way that they want, things will only lead on to get better, which is sound. You're in this unfounded territory where now you've had a good run. You want to just jump on the coattails of these other teams and think, oh, we can now replicate what you've done. And that, I'm not saying that you can't, but the likelihood of that happening
You're talking nonsense.
I'm not.
You're acting like you're like, whoa, wait a minute. So what? Last season undoes the previous season.
I'm trying to just put it into context. I'm just trying to
listen. You don't even know where the airport is. You're about landing, yeah.
What do you mean about airport? Like, mate, me and you are gonna fall out.
I know because what I'm saying is you're giving the speech like, listen, you guys, this is unfamiliar territory, and you're trying to emulate me. You act as if these other teams haven't had shit seasons and we ain't had good seasons. It happens.
By good seasons, by your standard, is not the same as a good season by a previous Arsenal standard or a previous Man U standard, or even, dare I say, a previous Chelsea or Liverpool standard. It's just not the same ballpark, and that's all I'm trying to reiterate. And instead of you fighting against the tide, just fucking accept it and just allow it and just be like, you know what? Where we're at, for what we do, we're doing really well. And if we stay on this trajectory, we will be all right this season. We'll finish up in the top half and we could have a strong run within Europe. Everyone here would give you your flowers and say, do you know what? Man's talking sense. Because based on what you can see, it'd be hard to argue against it, but you overinflate the issue and put on.
Because if this was Newcastle, you'd be talking different. It's a Newcastle.
I wouldn't.
Yes, you would. You all rank over Newcastle and Villa. You all do it every week. Because guess what? They've got the Saudi money.
Yeah, but they've got more juice than you, so I can expect it to be more.
They got juice, more juice. They got money. What's the juice? What's the juice?
Money,
it's their first season in Europe.
You wanted to get rid of your manager the other week, so you know yourself that what you're getting, you might enjoy the heyday now, but it's not sustainable in the same way that Newcastle are looking to implement themselves in the next 5 to 10 years. It's not the same project. It's not on the same level.
how Newcastle started off. How they started off, yeah.
Lawless, you can't do that.
This ain't even mean to. This ain't even mean to come for you, Pete.
Lawless is just like getting a gun and going boom, 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 to everyone.
You didn't mean to come for me, Lawless. You didn't mean to come for me, but you did. Okay, so therefore, on the back of that, we finished in the Champions League last season, right? And you never have. Even before
technically we did, and Liverpool got us banned from Europe. So I'm just saying that.
Fuck off. Right? But okay, and even after that point, in the 90s and the early 2000s, we were playing in Champions League football. We were finishing in the top 4 on a regular basis, fighting for the top 5. You haven't done that. Yes, I give you. We all gave you your flowers. You won the European Conference trophy, which I fully expect Villa to win, and I genuinely believe, in my opinion, anyone else in the panel, if their team was in that competition, they would win it as well. But what I'm saying to you is playing at the top end of the table isn't a conversation after 4 games. You know what I was like, and you gave me shit for it last season, that I was holding back, and I was like, I'm not sure. I hope we get there, but it's been a long time, blah, 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 blah. But it's secretly inside, I'm thinking, we've got a team that's capable of doing it, but I've not seen this team do it. We did it last season, and you've had great seasons before with Declan Rice, and you didn't achieve it. So don't come for Newcastle on the back of that. As Errol said,
all I'm saying is, and I'm not even...
Our project is going way beyond yours. And yes, we've started shit, and we'll get into Newcastle, and I'll give them shit myself because they were fucking dog shit on Saturday, right? And fair play to Maz. But at the same time, our project will way outlast yours. So don't fucking come to Newcastle.
Yeah, because guess what? Because you got the bought out. Yeah, you got sugar daddy.
Sugar daddy. We could go back before Mike Ashley when we didn't have all that, and we were still spanking you every week, and we were still finishing.
That's a difference. Whoa.
Well, it's all right for you to go back. It's all right for you to go back and say way back when that Liverpool stopped you from playing in Europe, and you can go back and say that, but you can't accept me saying in the 90s and the 2000s that we were fighting at the top end of the table. We were pushing teams.
Before we had 5 channels on terrestrial, like,
and all the rest of it. You know, we were doing that. You weren't doing that.
Billy weren't even born then. What you on about?
You weren't even born then.
You weren't even born. Let me know. We can't be talking about shit that happened when Billy weren't born. It's not fair.
There we go.
I'm not even saying that.
Let's move on.
I'm not saying that we're gonna be here for the season and all of this. All I'm saying is,
you better hope you are, Lawrence. I'll tell you this now. If you finish below 10th, you are in the mud. You're finished. You're absolutely finished.
No, I call that. All I'm saying is, with Arsenal fans, they can sit there and laud how they're undefeated and, we're going to have a title challenge again and we've got out of second gear and this is going to happen and that's going to happen. But West Ham can't, yeah? We haven't even, right? So Kudus hasn't even started for us yet. He had a little cameo Friday. He's still got more to come. Our new signings have got to, hit the ground running. We might get Lingard. That might be like a new signing. So that you can do all of this shit, all of these gymnastics, right, that Arsenal are doing, you can apply it to everyone. That's all I'm saying. So don't sit here and have double standards. Go, well, because we're Arsenal and you're West Ham, and that's just how it works. Because that's just lazy. That's lazy.
Right. There's one thing that we haven't talked about with Arsenal, and this is not me backing Arsenal, but this has been a conversation for years. The one thing I'll say about Arsenal is for years and years and years, everyone said that they've had no backbone, that they've not been able to win when playing shit. They've always had to play quality football to win football matches. Arsenal this season haven't played well, and they've still won football matches. So for me, Arsenal from that perspective actually are doing things that people gave them shit for that they weren't doing in previous seasons. So yeah, Arsenal haven't been great. And I said to Dan Man United, I said, if your best players were on it, you'd have probably won that game. But they didn't. And Arsenal playing shit still got the 3 points. So for me, that shows evolution in the team. Although it's not looking pretty, you're still getting points on the board. So when things are looking pretty and you are playing the football parts, it could well be a good season again.
Listen, I've not been convinced. I don't think it's sustainable to be getting dragged over the line like that. I agree a lot of what Lawless has said. But once again, Lawless is trying to compare West Ham's season to Arsenal's, which is bizarre. But that's his opinion.
Well,
that's what he wants to do.
Our seasons, the table compares it for us, right? So I'm just saying, if we're comparing our starts, and you've had an easier run of games than West Ham. We will. I'm just saying that. You'll run a
Well, make
fixtures
sure you're up there with
video.
us for game week 38, then, brother. Make sure you're up
Well,
there.
how do you know you'll be up there? How do you know you'll
Well,
be up
exactly.
there?
Make sure you're up there then. Make sure you're up there.
Wait for
Make sure
Champions
you're...
League. Wait for the Champions League starts. Yeah.
Wait for the Europa League to start.
Yeah. You might
Then
be
we'll see
joining
where
us.
West Ham are at.
Yeah.
I swear to God, if you do not win something, or if you tell me that I'm a disgrace for putting West Ham no higher than 10th, and you even dare to finish 10th, 11th, 12th, wow, you are so in the mud, bro. You are so.
Well, we've got a young squad. We got a young this.
Well, you haven't got a young squad. You got Antonio upstairs still.
I'm gonna get out the. I need to write down some of the Arsenal fan excuses. Hey, Arsenal fans, give us all your excuses for failing the last 2 seasons, so I can write them down, please, and have them for the end of the season, just in case. Never know.
Wait, just wait to see, man. Let's wait and see. Listen, let's move. Maz and Pete, I suppose we come to you next. Wow, Evan Ferguson's son player. He looked good in an Arsenal shirt in next season, Maz, I reckon. What a talent, man. 18 years old. Wow.
Do you know what it is? What really annoys me is whenever we have any player does remotely well, the first thing that says, "Oh, who's going to buy him for 100 million?" Then like we don't get a chance to enjoy these unbelievable players. Like as soon as they have a good game, they're linked away. But no, he's incredible. I know he got injured as well, which he's out for the Ireland games in an international break. I just hope it's not.
Or is he, man? Or is he?
Yeah. Is he?
Is England putting their finger down to try?
Have you heard him talk, Pete? That would be the biggest disgrace if he fucking played for England.
Hey, Rice and Grealish.
To be sure,
case in point. Rice and Grealish are case in point.
I did see that, to be fair, but no, I think he's proper staunch Irish. I don't think he'll ever go behind the Irish back. But no, he was incredible on the day. Yeah, just unbelievable. And you know what I was saying about how De Zerbi, after losing to West Ham, how he said, "Look, you know, we'll bounce back," and yeah, we bounced back in unbelievable fashion as well. And yeah, it was just a great. I love the fact that he made changes. Like he took out Webster, who was shocking against West Ham, brought in Van Hecker, who was brilliant. Obviously, brought in took out Welbeck and played João Pedro behind Ferguson, and just those little changes were just incredible. So. Yeah,
nice to have a manager who realizes that something's not going right.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. There's a lot of people on this panel, I think, would sort of take De Zerbi straight away, just because. Yeah, I love the fact that he can make mistakes, but he will, see that and then be like, do you know what? Next game, I'm going to try something else, or he'll pick up on things that he knows he's done wrong, and I think that takes a lot for a manager to sort of, admit to that and play up to that, and then get the result that we get. Newcastle, very strong team, and we were going to get 3-0 win until right at the end when Wilson obviously made it 3-1. So yeah, he's doing incredible things, and I just love the fact that even when we have a bad result against West Ham, he bounces back and gets a big result against a really good Newcastle side, which a lot of people tip to be top 4, top 6 again this season.
Pikachu's woke up.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I think we were brilliant, and yeah, man, it was a really good game.
It wasn't a really good game for you, brother. It really wasn't, man. Are you worried at all? Because it's not looked good the last couple of games.
Honestly, that performance was unacceptable from a Newcastle perspective. It was shite. And look, Lawless is raising his eyebrows. Look, as Dan United said in the chat before we went live, I'll tell you exactly how it is. Look, I've got a lot of respect for Brighton. As a football fan, I love watching them play football. They're a very, very good footballing side with a really good manager. So big props to you on that. But we were unacceptable. That performance, honestly, everything that Newcastle United has been built on in the last 18 months since Eddie Howe and the takeover was missing. It was missing. The intensity, the press, the togetherness, the work rate, everything was missing. And it genuinely shocked me. It genuinely shocked me as a Newcastle fan. And not just me, lots of other Newcastle fans feel exactly the same. On our review show, we didn't really do a review show, but we looked tactically about how we can maybe change things moving forward. Honestly, and I can't remember who mentioned it, but it was about, I think it was about De Zerbi making decisions that needed to be made. And honestly, we've got Brentford at home coming up next, which is not an easy fixture. They're a good side. I think decisions need to be made. about certain players. Honestly, if I was Ian Ferguson and I had Dan Burn at centre back, I'd be rubbing my hands together, going, "I'm ready. I'm ready." He was fucking dog shit. And for me, I would not be starting him either at left back or centre back. Obviously, we had to. Sven Botman is a massive miss. He has been unbelievable for us, like since he signed for the club. And with him not there, because he's been such an ever-present, it was so noticeable, the drop down in levels from Botman to Burn. It just threw everything out. I just think that big changes need to be made. Lewis Hall is building up fitness. He's been training with the England first team today, which can only be a good thing for him at 18 years old. He needs to be starting. He needs to be starting against Brentford at left back. We need Botman back, which it looks like he will be. Shaw hopefully is fit, and we get a real solid foundation again. People may disagree with me with regards to this, Newcastle fans, but I wouldn't be starting with Bruno Guimaraes in the next game. I think Bruno Guimaraes needs to kick up the arse because he hasn't in the last couple of games. He hasn't been playing well. It has been a conversation, obviously, he had on social media where he bit back to a channel, an account who was kind of like questioning him and a couple of other players. He hasn't been playing well, and it's not just down to him. It's down to where he's playing. He's not a number 6. And I got the tactics board out on the show that we had unloaded, and I explained Ferguson's goal where he scored the goal from deep. Long range shot. I think it was his second goal, and the how naive he was in vacating his position. He does it all the time. Liverpool exploited it. Foden exploited it with Man City. Teams are exploiting that position because he's not maintaining it. Even Trippier, if you watch it back, there was one time that wasn't a goal, and Trippier went straight to Bruno, and he's going, "You fucking stay there." And he's going, what? I was trying to get up, and he's going, "No, you're the number 6. You need to fucking sit," because he doesn't. He drifts, and I think he needs to kick up the arse to say, "You're a quality player." He's a quality player on the ball, unbelievable. He's been amazing for Newcastle. But if you want to play that position, you need to play that position. And I think bringing somebody else in, whether it's Tonali playing as a 6 and bringing someone else into midfield to really kind of give him a kick up the arse to say, you're not guaranteed if you're not playing well.
What's happened to Joe Willock, please?
Joe Willock, he got a hamstring injury against, I believe, was it Brighton? It might have been Brighton or Leicester, the back end of the season. It was a really bad one. He was about to come back to fitness last week into full training, but he's done his Achilles, so he's out for another 6 weeks now. So he's going to be out long term. Like, he's got injuries, back-to-back injuries. So for me, and people might not agree with me on this, I said it on our show on Sunday, I would be dropping Alexander Isak and I'd be bringing Callum Wilson in because, again, for the same reason, we've got 2 good strikers as options. And if you're not scoring goals, and he had 2 brilliant chances in the first 10 minutes to put Newcastle 2-0 up, and probably should have. If you're not putting the ball in the net, which is what you're paid to do, we've got a striker on the bench that's chomping at the bit and actually came on and scored. So therefore, for me, Wilson should be starting. And that should be the kick up the arse for Isak, because we did exactly the same last season in reverse. Wilson wasn't performing, we brought Isak in, and he stayed in the team. Isak's our number 1 striker. But Wilson is chomping at the bit. And if Wilson's putting the ball in the net, he should be starting. So for me, with what you said, Maz, about De Zerbi, I fully agree. These are big decisions now that Eddie Howe has to make with regards to this team. And I'm expecting them. And if I don't see them and we don't get a result against Brentford, that I won't be happy with that. Because these are decisions top managers have to make. They have to make them. I love Eddie Howe. I love it. But you have to make at the top end the table. You boys all know it. You all know it with your managers. You have to make big decisions at big times in the season. Now, we've got a run of games now where up until, I think, November, we should be picking up a good selection of points. Now, we've got the Champions League that's in between that, which is a distraction, a welcome distraction, by the way. I'm buzzing for it. But we should be picking up points now. And there's no real excuses. Like Man City away, Liverpool at home, albeit the way in which we lost the game. Okay, fine. You can hold your hands up to that. But that performance against Brighton was unacceptable. unacceptable from a Newcastle point of view. Those fans travelled the longest journey of any team in the Premier League to watch that performance. It's unacceptable, and I genuinely believe now we need to step it up.
How many points did you predict you would have after 4 games? By the way, fella.
In terms of I don't really do predictions. We beat Villa, which I thought we would because we're at St James's Park. With the Man City and Liverpool games, you
thought you'd beat Liverpool. Come on, Pete.
I thought we would give Liverpool a run for their money. I genuinely thought, and to be fair, we nearly did. We nearly got the points, but then obviously we crumbled at the end. Being honest, before the game, and I predicted it before, I would have hoped for a point at the Amex because I know our record is fucking shocking at the Amex. I would have took a point. Yeah, I would. Yeah,
7 out of 12 then, yeah.
7 points I would have took from these fixtures. The toughest fixtures of any Premier League team. Not an excuse. We should have had more than what we've got right now. But honestly, for the next 6 or 7 fixtures that we've got, that includes West Ham away, we should be picking up points, in my opinion. No,
you know what? Shout out to Daps in the chat, by the way, because I didn't even realize this. So he pointed out that Newcastle are below Chelsea, which is an absolute disgrace right now. That really puts things into perspective. You're below Chelsea. Wow. But I have a question. I'm going to take a leaf out of Dan United's book with the questions. Are you concerned at all that we haven't seen Project Castle deal with how they deal with bad run of form?
I was panicking then, Lawless. I was panicking, right? Lawless, when you mentioned me then.
Because at this stage, we talk about the project and the project's great and all of that stuff. But obviously, since Eddie Howe come in, it's been all smooth sailing, riding high. Right. A sustained. How you cope with that, a sustained bad run of form. And obviously, once that Champions League picks up, like you said, it's a welcome distraction. However, that is going to stretch the limits of your squad. You've got the worst possible group you could have got. It's a really tough group again. You're going to have to.
I'm buzzing at that group. I'm not going to lie.
No, you're going to listen. From me to you, right? Club similar stature. I understand why you are as a fan, right? To get to go to away games, to see your team play these teams, it's great. But in terms of the league, it's going to take its toll, right? Because you're going to have to go all out in those champions. You're going to have to get nothing left on the pitch, right? Full strongest team. Yeah. And then come back on the weekend and then do it all again to fight for the 3 points. And then if that, you get them run of bad games and then dissension sort of comes in, can you dig yourselves out? That's going to be the big test.
Well, that's the big question because, as you just said, we've not been in this position for a long, long time. And Eddie Howe's never been in this position. So for me, do I think we're under pressure? Well, I'm not under any pressure at all. I think it'll be really interesting to see how Eddie Howe deals with this. That's what I'm intrigued about. I'm intrigued about Eddie Howe because Eddie Howe is a fantastic manager. I don't think anyone can disagree with that. He's been fantastic for Newcastle United. But,
how much credit in the bank does he have, Pete?
Lots for what he's done.
Enough for a poor season? Enough for a bad season?
Well, it depends on what you consider a poor season.
Will you tell us?
Lawless.
I would say, and I don't believe this is going to happen, but I would say outside the top half of the table would be considered a poor season for Newcastle. In my opinion,
is that sackable?
No, I don't think it will be. The owners absolutely love him. They absolutely love him. If anyone's watched a documentary, the way we talk about Newcastle, for me, I don't think it would be, but I would say that would be what would be considered a poor season. However, I don't believe that's going to be the case. And I genuinely think that the run of fixtures now that's probably taking us up to November, maybe December, is a fantastic opportunity to pick up lots and lots of points. And we could be sitting here in a couple of months' time having a very, very different conversation.
But Pete, surely if he finishes, let's say 9th, there's no chance they're going to keep him on. They'll sack him 100%.
I agree with
I
that.
don't think so. I don't think so.
So you don't think the Sound
I'm giving you my opinion.
No,
I
I hear
don't
that.
think I don't think they will.
Okay.
Whether they do or not is a different conversation. However,
I
I genuinely don't think we're going to finish that low this season.
No, but I think off the back of a top 4 finish to then finish, let's say outside the top 6, I think that the owners will see that as a massive disappointment. And yeah,
does it not depend how they get on in the Champions League as well? Because if you progress out the groups in the Champions League and finish out the top 6.
But what's the success in obviously apart from winning it? But like if they get outside the, let's say, quarterfinals, semi-finals, is that enough to justify keeping them on?
I would say so.
I would say so. I would say getting to the latter stages or into the knockout rounds of the Champions League shows progress.
I'd say if he gets out of that group,
he went into the Europa League and went deep into the Europa League. I think that would be considered a success. With what people are saying, the group of death, all that talk, I think it'll be a competitive.
I think you can get out of that group.
But
I think you can.
I think it's a competitive group, but there are some historical teams in there, some very, very good teams. But this is where we test ourselves. We're going to match ourselves against the best teams. This is where Newcastle United fans wanted to be. This is where Eddie Howe wanted us to be. This is where the owners wanted us to be. So now we have to go and be competitive. We've spent 130 million. We need to be competitive to it. So it gets to a point where all the stuff previous stays in the past. It's about what we do now. And this is what I'm saying. I think we've got a run of fixtures in the Premier League where we can genuinely pick up points. I genuinely think we can be competitive in the Champions League. Whether we get through into the knockout phases, whether we go into Europa League, or whether we finish 4th. Who knows? If we finish 4th, it might actually accelerate our Premier League season on another level. But I genuinely think the owners have targeted a top 7 finish. If we can go back-to-back European seasons, whatever competition that's in, whether it's Champions League, Europa League, it might. I don't even know. Is it going to be top 8 now? If potentially we have 5 in the Champions League, could it be potentially?
Good question. Does anyone know that? I don't know that.
I don't know. But what I'm saying is, I think top 7 would be Newcastle United's target as the owners to say, can we get back-to-back European seasons? Because then it gives us the opportunity to build and grow again. Well, remember, we've got the huge Adidas deal that's coming in at the end of next season. So they're going to be our shirt manufacturers. And if anyone's watched a documentary on the last episode, they announced that's the deal for next season. A multi-100 millions pound deal. So that's going to allow us to be more expansive in the transfer market as well. So if we can back that up with the European season, this season, whatever competition that's
wonder how you got that deal,
I genuinely think it gives us the power to really go again.
But surely that 100 million pound deal, your owners have got fucking the world's wealth in there.
Yeah,
surely 100 million is a drop in the ocean.
Yeah, but it's FFP. It's
FFP. That's why you have the loopholes, Maz. You know, it's a cheeky investment in Adidas. Here's a donation.
So put it into perspective. We are, in terms of our shirt sponsor and our shirt manufacturer, we are one of the bottom half of the Premier League in terms of money that we get in for that. And with FFP, it literally does nothing. But now we've got Seller, who have put us up just below the top 6 in terms of financial power. The Adidas deal is going to take us right up. I think it could even be competitive with the likes of Man City over Tottenham and pushing Arsenal in terms of what its potential is. It's not been confirmed. That then gives us the FFP power to be able to spend the money that we have. And it's a genuine thing. We've kept to the line. We've kept to the line. We've towed the line. We've done everything the Premier League wanted us to. But as long as we keep growing, and we've just employed more brand marketing, high-level members of staff to build that back room that Man United are not doing, as Dan's talked about, at the top end, we're looking at building that so we can continue to spend and build. So if we can back it up with the European season next season, I think we'll kick on again.
I think the other thing you've got to think as well. Is I will say this about Newcastle. Out of the first 4 games, they've had four extremely difficult games, haven't they? And I think I've seen stuff on. I mean, Twitter's can be a virus. I've seen Newcastle fans saying he's got to go. I think that's ridiculous. I asked a question at the start of the season, and Pete, you were quite angry when I asked it. What happens if the fans do turn on him, mate? What happens if the fans do turn on him? That's just legitimately, because if the fans turn on him, surely the owners have to listen. They seem to have put themselves as we are an ownership that listens to the fans. You know, we're in tune with the fans. We go on about, obviously, as you said, and I completely get what you're saying, that if they finish in top half table, he's got enough in his bank to do that, to stay on. But do you think there comes a point, if you do go on a bad run? I don't think you will, by the way. I think you'll be fine. But does there come a point that they do listen to the fans?
That'll only happen if Newcastle go on the next 4 and pick up 1 point, then the fans might decide to raise question marks. But it's got to go horribly wrong, I think, for Howe. He's done incredible, man.
I would say it's a good question, Dan United. I think I can't remember you asking me that question, if I'm honest with you. But if you asked me before the season, of course, Eddie Howe's got so much in the bank that I wouldn't even consider that. But look, genuinely, from my perspective, I wouldn't be asking for him out. I think large sections of the fan base wouldn't be either. You're always going to get a small section of fans, every club has it, that are going to want a manager out after poor decisions. And well, no. To be fair, I think we all agreed that it was he was more than right in wanting him out. I think we were encouraging him to stay in because of how bad they were. I think we wanted him to stay. I think that was the argument the other end. But Lawless quite rightly wanted Moyes out. But I don't think that's going to be the case with Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe has come in and transformed Newcastle United since he came into the club. I think he's got a lot. He's got a lot in the bank with regards to the fans, with regards to the club, and in particular, and more importantly, with the owners. That I don't think that decision will be made. But equally, as you mentioned, I don't think we'll be in that position, because I do think we'll start to pick up results, pick up points, and pick up performances. Because I think he'll be giving these players a kick up the arse, and I want to see some of those changes. I don't think they'll all be made in terms of Burn and Isaac and Bruno. We need to get Harvey Barnes into the team. He hasn't even started a game this season. Like, he's chomping a bit.
As well.
Livramento and Hall. These players are still to come in. These are our signings.
He hasn't maximised these minutes when he's come on, though, has he, Pete? Let's be honest.
Who?
Harvey Barnes.
Well, he scored against Villa. When he came on...
He always scores against Villa.
Yeah, it's true. When he came on against City, he created 2 or 3 really good openings. Against Liverpool, he should have released it earlier for Wilson. If that, he would have had an assist on his name. Again, difficult games to come into, but for me, he should be starting. I'd be taking Miggy out of the team.
The next few games, Pete, didn't matter to me. It's the next few that matter. It's the next few that are key. Like, you've had some. You said it yourself on game week 1. We've got a tough start. Now the fixtures aren't so tough. What Newcastle are we going to see? That's the question mark now. And then you can start to point the fingers at more towards Eddie Howe then and say, come on, what is actually happening now? Because this is a big year for Newcastle. Do you know what I mean? There's nobody looking at, certainly not on this panel, but in general, there's nobody looking at Newcastle anymore going, they got a free season. They can do what they want. They can come 12th if they want. They've done I'm brilliant. I'm ready. The pressure's on. So, it's got to be, I think it will bounce back, because I do think your squad is good enough. And I think you will be fine this season. It's been a tough start, but it's got to happen, man. That's just my opinion. That doesn't mean it's going to happen.
No hiding place pots.
Yeah,
like you said, if we're going to put ourselves amongst the best in the best in the country, we've got to compete like we're one of the best in the country. And yes, tough start, granted, fair enough. But as I've said to you, we've got a run of fixtures now that, for me personally, I expect to pick up points.
Eddie Howe looks like a manager as well that learns. He does. I think he learns from, he'll learn a lot from the Liverpool game. 100%, he'll learn a lot from the Liverpool game. I think he's one of them.
Just quickly.
Go on, Maz.
Just quickly, I know you want to move on. Quickly, I feel like Brighton, we haven't been getting our flowers.
Listen, I'm coming to that now, because Tony Bloom's in the chat saying people can banter Arsenal now, but they peaked too early last year, not scintillating and still winning when they click, which is problems. Big up Maz, hashtag Seagulls. I'm going to ask you, Maz, because this, and to be fair, this comes to Lawless as well. I think when you lose Declan Rice and you lose Caicedo, you're being looked at straight away, right? And I think, fair play, I banter Lawless, and I hate to say it, but West Ham and Brighton have started well. And maybe there ain't enough flowers coming your way. And Brighton, I put that in the bracket as well, because I've been really impressed with how you're playing, man. And I think your manager deserves credit. But it seems that every time you lose a player, you just replace them and then seem to either get better or just remain the same. You can talk about Ferguson coming into the side, as we'd mentioned, but it's more your style of play that straight away we saw with De Zerbi. We were speaking to Dan earlier about Ten Hag not really implementing anything now over a year. We still don't know what he's doing, what he's about. De Zerbi, I think Pep said, plays the best football out from the back that he's seen. So I think you deserve more credit, bro. I'm being really, really impressed this season. Can't lie.
No, 100%. I think we heard from him in the chat just now. Tony Bloom, I think, for me, he is the guy. He is the main reason why we are what we are right now. Like, to be able to sign, do you know how mad it is, I used to go to the Withdean when I was younger, the Withdean Stadium. Anyone's been there knows how shit that place was. To be going from there to signing Ansu Fati, from Barca, to then playing in European football is just mind-blowing to me. To get from where we were in the last 5 years to where we are now is just insane. And I think that's completely up to Tony Bloom. Like I said, we've got Ansu Fati still to come in. We've got Balebo, who we signed from Lille, to come in, who's like apparently a very similar profile to Basuma. So we've got, we're signing incredible talent. Even the young boys that are coming through are just, out this way. We saw Ferguson against Newcastle, prime example. Even Billy Gilmore, who I thought was unbelievable against Newcastle as well, only 23. So we've got some incredible players coming through. We've got an incredible manager, as we've spoken about. And then, do you know what it is? The big difference, and I wasn't here when we talked about Man United, but I've seen the comparisons of Man United. When a player comes into United, they usually struggle. Like, let's say 7 out of 10 transfers flop, right? Whereas on the flip side, Brighton, usually 9 out of 10 transfers succeed. That's because we've got incredible facilities. We've got a good feeling around the club. We're managed well. Everything's good about the club. Whereas, unfortunately for Dan, Man United is just a bit of a shit show. Old Trafford's leaking.
No, Maz. We've already done Dan. We've done Dan. You carry on with yours, mate. You carry on with yours.
But do you know what I mean? Old Trafford's leaking. They haven't got any facilities. No one wants to be there. It's a bit of a shit show. Whereas on the flip side, Brighton is really well run. And I think you can see that on the pitch. I think that's the key thing, is you can see that good management from above going down to the pitch. So, anyway, that's all. I just felt like we need to get some flowers, Brighton, because I feel like we're doing really, really well considering the sort of teams we face. I know West Ham wasn't our finest.
Does anyone know when Pep's contract's up?
25.
I'm scared. I saw some
Newcastle. Oh, look at him. He's doing it. See, you can't enjoy anyone, man. You can't enjoy your manager, your players. They want to ship them off.
Let's enjoy it, man. Fucking hell. We just want to enjoy it. We want to, try and look. Do you know what it is? Whenever we get anywhere near Lawless to the top 6, they want to bring us down. That's what it is. They see us getting there. They see us penetrating.
You've only done it one season, Maz. But you're talking like we've been saying this for the last 15 years.
No. But whenever any small team,
come on, let's get realism here. Fucking hell.
No, but okay, Dan. When we ever do well, any small club, do the players get taken away? Do the managers get taken away? Do they get dismantled season upon season?
Or the football pyramid. Am I meant to feel sorry for you for being a small club or something?
No. But what I'm saying
is the big boys. It happens to even when you're at the top of the table, it's top of the tree. It still happens to you. Do you get me?
How shit is that though? How's football ever going?
That's how football works, bro. If you ain't alive to that in 2023, you're watching the wrong sport, bro.
But then don't cry. Don't sit there and cry about the Man Cities of the world. Yeah, don't sit there. And I had this from the Arsenal fans. No, all of you fans, all these big boys. Oh, they've spent loads of money, and it's not competitive. You want it to be the Bundesliga. All of that shit, that you lot say. I remember this when we said I'd rather Declan Rice goes to Man City. Oh, you don't want a competitive league. You want it to go to the Bundesliga. No, you just want all the best players to go to your clubs. You don't give a shit about Bundesliga and competition. You just want to rate us because it's just the way things are. You're supposed to be a man of the people. You're supposed to be a Liverpool. You're supposed to be from Liverpool. Sorry, I thought you were a man of the people. I thought you were from Liverpool.
What has that got to do with the conversation?
You sounded like a Tory to me, lad. You sounded like a fucking
Don't-
Tory, lad.
don't start,
You're
don't-
Tory.
Lawless, be careful, mate.
Don't say that, Lawless.
Yeah,
You're a rocky
Tory,
ground,
you
man.
sound
You're a
like a
rocky
Tory.
ground, bro.
Go back on mute. You're just waffling shit. Maz knows what I'm saying. There is truth to what I'm saying. And it's not like
Yeah,
disrespectful.
but no, you're glorifying it. You're
Look,
glorifying.
I'm not glorifying it. I'm just stating facts.
You
The
are.
Saudis are trying to drop 220 M's on Mohammed Salah. Like they've got no heritage, but they've got money. Money talks and plays. Doesn't matter what team you are. Every
why can't you
player's
feel
got a
sorry
price.
for Brighton?
No, but what you need to remember is every player has a price, and every big club has bottomless pits of money to afford players at their price. It's as simple as that. And you don't need to get mad about it and stressy. That's just the way that it is.
Errol, I hear what you're saying. Obviously, look, I know that's unfortunately the way football works, but I can still be frustrated by it. I can still I can still be annoyed by it. I know that's how football works. It's been like this for the last however long we've been alive. But it's just frustrating. Every time it happens, Caicedo goes, McAllister goes, all these players that you've sort of, built to where they are, for them to just go to wherever the money is.
This is the difference between, and it might not be the difference between us as mentalities, but this is between like what we do and what other teams may or may not do. I've said it before when we've lost Torres. As a player, as a young lad as well, in my teens, I was wounded. Didn't think I'd ever see another striker like Torres ever again in my life. But Liverpool find a way to be Liverpool and introduce us to Suarez. Do you get me? So every single time it happens, the players are here today, gone tomorrow. The club is the club. The players, you will find other replacements that will come in, pick up the shit.
We're doing that already. And
that's what I'm saying. So I'd rather find more. What's the word? I'd find a little bit of that silver lining in the fact that the process that you've put in place works, as opposed to having a process where when you do lose a gem, what are you all pissing yourselves?
Froze.
Oh,
I didn't notice because he had like a really face for the whole show. That's just how
he's just enjoying the conversation, but he's froze.
Sam, clip it.
There's got to be a point where Brighton have to be able to be allowed to almost, bridge the gap. If you're a Brighton fan and you go, just accept you're going to get raided season after season.
Yeah. What's the point of being
what we love about football is that there is a chance for teams that ain't usually there to go and punch above their weight and submit themselves.
That's what the cup's for. That is what the
but why can't that be the league? Why can't they get Champions League and be there for a few seasons?
They're in the Europa League now, so they've got to make the most of it. They've got to capitalize when they do get these opportunities.
Because the thing is, it's only going to happen for so long. Like Brighton could be another Southampton. Remember Southampton?
Brighton have made Brighton have made 100, and that's very true. But Brighton have made £100 million off the back of Caicedo in a season where they've got Europa League. What you would be hoping that Brighton do at that point is reinvest that money enough to establish themselves as a Europa League team going forward. That should be the next stage of the process or the planning for them, so that they have a chance then to be able to say to players when they're bringing them in, not only are you going to get the opportunity to move away to a bigger club, but you will still get the chance to play on a European stage. You don't just go from, unless you're a Newcastle in certain circumstances, but you don't just typically go from, right, and a Leicester. No, there's a Leicester as well in there that's happened to them before. You go from the obscurity of potentially being relegated one season, and then the next season you're finishing either in the top four or you're winning the Premier League. That happens once in every 10, 15, 20 years. Like, to be that team, it's very rare. So the other thing that you then want to be able to try and instill is to be the team that can progressively build on those building blocks, understand where you are in the pecking order, and force your way into that mold, so that when you do get your chance and you do sell those players, you can reinvest the money to go again and bridge the gap. That should be the aim, really.
No, look, I hear it. I'm not one of those fans that are not realistic. I don't, we're Brighton. We should, know our place. I don't like that, being know your place. You should be a selling club, blah blah. But then on the flip side, I hear what you're saying, Errol. Definitely, you're not going to be a Man City. You're not going to be these big clubs. We have to know that we are, at the moment, we are a stepping stone. That is a fact. We are a stepping stone. The young players will come there. get games.
Yeah, Maz, you deserve credit though, bro. Like, I don't know what happened there, by the way. I froze completely. But mate, you honestly deserve so much credit, man. The way you're run, the club is. I'm jealous of you, man. Literally, I'm jealous. So I think you do deserve flowers. I understand what Errol's saying. I get it. You know, that's
Would you
football,
trade
etc.
Arteta for De Zerbi, Potts?
Say again, bro.
Would you trade Arteta for De Zerbi?
Of course he would.
Hey, you're trying to get me in trouble here.
Yeah. I like both. I can't lie. I love Arteta.
That was a nasty question. That was nasty.
That's a good question. It's a good question, but I wouldn't have De Zerbi, no, because I don't think personally that he's proved that he can do anything more than what Arteta's doing at Arsenal. That's all I'm saying. I think he's very good at what he's doing at Brighton, but Graham Potter was very good at Brighton, wasn't he? So I'm not going to sit there and start getting overhyped and going, get De Zerbi at Arsenal winning the title, because I'm not so sure he's the guy who can do that. So I would only replace Arteta with a proven winner, because for me, this project process thing is done and we've got to now deliver. And if he's not going to deliver it, why would De Zerbi? For me, it's got to be a proven winner that knows what he's doing and has done it before. So that would be how I'd answer that question. But I'm a big fan of what De Zerbi's doing at Brighton. I think he's been fantastic. I love the style of play. And I think Brighton do deserve credit, you know. I'm Lawless to start crying in a minute because I haven't given West Ham flowers. But I don't think West Ham are run anywhere near as good as Brighton. I don't think they are. I think their ownership is nowhere near as good. I think the manager's nowhere near as good. I think the player. I think their team's better, if I'm honest. So that's why I predicted Brighton ahead of West Ham. But apparently, I'm going to be muddied at the end of the season when West Ham come top 4. So
do you know what? Because this is the thing. I ain't even like when it looks like I'm salty against Newcastle, Brighton. I ain't got no problems with Newcastle, Brighton. Do you know why I seem to have a problem with you guys? Because it's Potts. Because Potts fucking loves you guys. He loves you, your teams. He absolutely loves you. Like, imagine like if Pete was this massively deluded, arrogant Newcastle fan, right? That's Potts on behalf of Newcastle. He is worse about your teams than he is his team. And that's why. So if I ever seems like I'm firing shots, the shots are at Potts on behalf of.
I think you should leave. Yeah? I think you should leave Maz and Pete out of this then and come for me. That's what I think.
Well, I do, but I have to fire shots at those teams when they
underperform. Why do you? Why? Apparently, it's me you've got the problem with. So you're coming for Maz's team for no reason, and you're coming for Pete's team for no reason, but you've got the problem with me. That makes no sense, brother.
Because you put them on the pedestal, so when it blows up in your face,
why doing what? How do I put them on the pedestal? What did I say? That they run well and that they're good clubs. I think you're.
No, because you sit there and them at the top all the time, and they could do this. You said to Pete that they could win their group in the Champions League.
I think they can go through. I do. Okay, let me ask you this. Real talk. We'll move on to Liverpool next, but real talk. Let me ask you this then, Lawless.
Whoa. Liverpool and Villa.
And Villa. Yeah.
I thought Villa was the flavour of the month.
No, Aston Villa. I don't want to show favouritism because otherwise you'll come for Aston Villa and Billy. Otherwise, so I have to go for Liverpool, don't I? You know what I'm saying? You'll start firing shots. To be fair, you already fire shots at Billy. What am I talking about?
I've got let me ask you with Villa, yeah, because I know like Errol's going to go into a 20-minute diatribe on Zabazlai, and we're going to hear him wax lyrical for fucking God knows how long. But
it was offside.
Billy, I've got to shout out this comment.
Wind it up.
Yusuf in the chat. He's always coming out with some good stuff. He's a good loyal viewer of the show. He's always got great comments. He actually has a quote from you here before the game. I'd like to read it to you and get your thoughts. It says, "I'm feeling good. Thursday, play the kids against Hibs. Give Martinez a full week's rest. Ready for Liverpool. Over to Anfield. Let's get the 3 points and make another statement win. Up the Villa." Right?
Where in the world is that accent from?
I don't know.
That's the first thing that we need to address.
I don't know what accent you've got. It's some sort of Northern Midlands thing that's not quite from me. I don't know what it is. It's really hard to do.
Don't bring me into this.
Add a bit of Spanish in there as well. Why don't you?
I'm out of this one.
What have you got to say for yourself? Because I said I did kind of come for you in the group chat and Dan United as one of these people that, you put your chest out there, but you don't want to put it all the way out there. You don't want to get clipped. So you'll sit there and predict your team to finish really high up the table and say, "Oh, Emery's brilliant and the players we've signed is brilliant," but ahead of every game, a lot of the time, you try and you don't really big yourselves up. You downplayed yourself ahead of Hibs and all of this. And yeah, obviously, I think you thought you'd be doing a lot better than you have done. You need to answer for this, Billy.
Yeah. It's not about not wanting to get clipped. I don't mind getting clipped. It's the feeling that I get when it comes back in your face and it's just the worst. And I can't be arsed with it. And do I think that Villa can finish top 6, top 7? Absolutely, I think we can. Are we showing it at the minute? No, I don't. But going to Anfield against Liverpool's a fucking hard place to go, and going to St James's Park against Newcastle, first game of the season, is a fucking hard place to go. We've lost 2 games this season. I was feeling good again against in the run up to Liverpool. Four wins on the spin.
After beating Hibs, after beating Hibs.
Exactly. Four comfortable wins on the spin. I was feeling slightly confident. And, if that goal doesn't happen, offside goal doesn't happen 2 minutes into the game, it could have been a slightly different game. I think our game plan going into it would have been to hold on to the ball, calm the crowd down first 10, 15 minutes. Don't let anything big happen. Obviously, that went out the window 2 minutes in. And the rest is history. Performance wasn't good enough. Yeah, we weren't clinical enough. We created chances. We had chances, but time and time again with this Villa team at the minute, we just can't take our chances. It was the same against Newcastle. It's the same against Liverpool. We can't finish our chances, which is the most infuriating thing, and why I think that we needed another top quality forward to come in. But yeah, it's not about not wanting to get
Cameron
clipped
Archer,
or anything like
Cameron
that.
Archer looks all right. He looked all right at the weekend.
Yeah,
I don't know why they sold him. I don't know why
Me
they
too,
sold him.
Pete. I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
He's a quality player. He's a quality player, but he needs regular first team minutes, which he isn't going to get at Villa at the minute.
You're in Europe. You're in Europe. You're going to rotate.
I know we are, and I agree, and I think it's a mistake not bringing another forward in if we've sold him. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Archer does at Sheffield United. He's already proven that he knows where the back of the goal is in the Premier League, and we've got a release and we've got a buyback clause in there. So hopefully he goes on, smashes it, and next summer we can bring him back.
Billy, this face you're seeing below me is Lawless cooking and cooking and cooking and getting ready to serve. So just pre-warn you, brother. Pre-warn you, brother.
You know what? I have to say, I've just realised, seen why people are saying, everyone's saying pause, major pause in the chat. I was like, what are they talking about? And someone's quoted it of what I said.
What did you say? I don't
know.
know.
It wasn't what it was. It was what Billy. It was what Billy said when he opened this segment.
Billy said. Someone said. I thought it was me. The feelings I get when it comes back in your face. Was that it?
No, that was Billy's line. That was Billy's line. Yeah. I clocked that.
Pause.
I think it sounds worse when you say
out of context.
Billy, if he was worried about getting clipped,
I was about to say,
yeah, nice one.
Remember, wasn't it Philip Senderos? Yeah. He said, was it in Joey Barton? Do you remember that? Philip Senderos said, Joey Barton, he comes all over you. I was like, brilliant. That is class, man.
Absolute that was good. I do remember him saying that.
Remember that.
Sam, clip it up. End the season, we can have a good laugh at that again.
Listen, Emery, I didn't see the game, Bill, because obviously I was at the Emirates, but from what I hear, Emery was getting a lot of question marks over the high line and over how easy it was for Liverpool to plough through. Anything on that?
I think he's getting question marks from the media. I don't think Villa fans are questioning him at all, because it's how we play. He's come in from the first second he's come in and said, this is how we're playing. Get used to it, or you're not playing, basically. We did give Trent too much time on the ball. And yeah, they exploited that. And look, it is what it is. We can't go back and undo it. Emery's still got more than enough. I've still got more than enough faith in Emery to go on and push us on and be a top team this season. Look, it's away at Liverpool. It's a fucking hard place to go, man. Errol, what was the record at Anfield last season? You had a shit season last season to your standards. What was the record at Anfield? It was still top,
good.
wasn't it?
We only dropped.
It was all right.
Yeah,
It was all right.
Yeah, we only dropped about three or four where we lost at Anfield last year. It was pretty good, to be fair. And in all fairness to Villa, that's 15 games unbeaten now for Liverpool on the spin, which is again kind of.
I haven't heard that. I didn't realise that. No one's told me that of late.
Yeah.
That's all I keep hearing from your fan base. 15 games unbeaten.
Well, that's it.
That's all I keep hearing.
It reestablishes that form that you need if you want to, push for top four. I don't think it's quite 10 wins, 5 draws, probably not good enough if you want to consider yourselves title challenges. So it still needs to improve, but it's a start considering how poor we dropped off last season. I'll keep what I need to say pretty brief, if I'm honest with you. To be fair, I want to allow
Lawless's face.
Yeah, I want to allow Laura to talk about West Ham. So at the expense of that, I will keep it pretty short and sweet.
Oh, wow.
That was the best performance that we've put together for a while. If I'm honest, in terms of the most complete, I think Klopp will be very happy that for the first time this season, he's been able to obviously not only keep 11 players on the pitch, but be able to use Trent in that inverted role and see the benefits of it. I think it was a big plus that we'll not only be able to keep a clean sheet, but we kept a clean sheet without Virgil van Dijk being in the matchday squad, without Konate being in the matchday squad. It's another massive step in the right direction that we haven't had to shout Alisson as the best player on the pitch for us. He was pretty much a passenger. Could have just chilled on a deck chair all Sunday afternoon. It was lovely. Could have just kicked his feet up. And again, what I've told all of you lads from the start of this season, the firepower that we've got up top is absolutely frightening, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Especially 48 hours. Well,
215 million coming in. It might change, bro.
Well, it might change. But
talk about that, Errol.
No, I don't want to talk about.
Let him land. Let him land.
Is he at the
Let
airport?
him land in Saudi Arabia, bro. Let him land in Saudi Arabia.
No, in 48 hours time, all of that could be rubbished until the January window, and then hopefully by then we'll have a clearer picture of where Liverpool's season is going, as well as obviously the European ambitions in a new year. So I'm not worried in that aspect. In terms of the team performance, the only person that Lawless did identify that does need a bit of a big up was Slobber's. It was quality. That finish was top draw on his left foot. I'd say that his weak foot, but it doesn't look like a weak foot to me if you can finish that on the half volley on the way back up and keep that down and control it. And that was absolutely the undoing behind everything that Villa planned to do that afternoon. Everything that they wanted to do and achieve was outdone within 3 minutes. And that was something that Liverpool haven't started games quick enough, haven't started games with enough intensity. I hate that buzzword that we often use as a Liverpool team and fans, but that was the reality. We haven't started with that intent to really put the screws on another team. We did that on Sunday, and it was absolutely it was refreshing. I sat there and did a watch along, bro, and I was chilled. And I know we don't often get those anymore. Do you know what I mean? You always feel like you're getting put through it, but I was just chilled out. I wasn't stressing, so it was nice to see for the change. And the foundation is there now, set for us. We're 2 points off City. We're in touching distance. We're in a good shape. We've got players coming back. And I think teams will slowly, on the low, be thinking that this Liverpool team, with the players that they're going to bring in, could really start to put a good run of form back together. And if that does happen, it's scary settings for everybody near the top half of the table. And that's where
I think you're probably the best placed for that second place finish. Not saying challenging, but from what I've seen so far, obviously Arsenal.
I don't even want to get into our debate from the other day about whether us finishing second is delusional. But at the same time, I agree. If we are, I think we are complete enough to not say go toe to toe with City, because that's a big ask. But based on previous and based on what I think Klopp wants this team to go and do in terms of putting the wrongs of last season right, I would be very shocked if we was in a position where we're in January and February and we're looking 2 points off, 4 points off City, if he didn't turn around to the lads and say, how much do you want to push for this? How much have you got in the tank and how much do you want it? Because if you want it, we can go and steal it off them, but we have to be flawless from here on out. And that's a completely different conversation for another day.
You have to be flawless to keep up with West Ham, mate. I mean, they're in the best position to be in second place right now.
Right now,
Clearly.
True.
So, I mean, look at the table. It don't lie, as Lawler said.
So I say right now, I'll take it. I will definitely take it. Liverpool, for all the doubt and all the naysayers, we have. I said to you a while ago when the transfer window was at its maddest, I just wanted us to do our talking on the pitch. I've been desperate to see us do what we can do on the pitch and just get on with it now. And that's where we're at. And if we can just continue this run of form, it took us, bear in mind, it took us almost 9 games last season to get 10 points. This point last season, I think we only had 4. We've done that already in obviously 4 games. So there is improvements there, and I'll take it.
Fair play, man. Lawless, any other mad statements you want to come up with? Any other West Ham credit you want to give? Any praise you want us to give West Ham for beating Luton?
Ask you a question. Have you got any flowers left? You've been giving out all these flowers, haven't you? Got any left for West Ham in your little box of flowers?
I mean, listen, I did give you some flowers earlier. I said big up West Ham for their start, along with Brighton. But, you know, you don't like to listen to the things that don't fit your agendas, my friend. So
no,
if you're going to
everything you say is all like with a nudge and a wink, yeah? All backhanded, sarcastic. I want genuine flowers. Roses, daffodils, tulips, petunias, whatever you like. Give me some real flowers for my team. Because you sit here and say, oh, it's 4 games, right? So what? So we just go around each time. Oh, well, what happened with the Newcastle game? It's 4 games. All right, let's move on to the Man United game. Well, it's 4 games. Like, we could just go round for every day and go, oh, it's 4 games. What do you want me to say? We were undefeated. We're in the top 4. We're doing bits, mate. We're doing bits.
Listen, well, congratulations for beating Luton. Congratulations for beating a Chelsea side that Forest beat. Congratulations for not losing to Bournemouth. And congratulations for beating Brighton. Well done.
No, don't just say Brighton like they're anybody.
Can I put my excuse in if they go and beat City already for not coming on the show? I'll be ill that week. Honestly,
Dan, you excited, mate, about playing us?
Sorry?
You excited about playing us soon?
Sorry, Lawless, what were you talking about, mate? What were you talking about?
Listen, I'm excited to play you lot when you come back to London Stadium, Maz. The curse is broken, right? Because Potts just wanted to. He wanted to throw these little statements before every team that we played against, right? But he didn't have nothing. He was like, "Oh, beat Brighton." No, we beat Brighton. Yeah, who are flying high, who are smashing teams for fun, who we ain't beat in 11 years. We beat that Brighton. And let's not just disregard
Brian, you said I shouldn't be giving flowers to. Oh, that Brian. Okay.
I listen, I know a lot of your fans like Luton is their second team. So let's talk about Luton, right?
Oh my God.
It's true. It's true.
Dear.
Right, Luton ain't no mugs, mate. I know they've just come up and they're at the bottom.
They haven't won a game, Lawless. I haven't won a game. We beat them 4-1, mate. What's going on here?
Lawless, at what point when that ball hits ball price?
Big up, man.
At what point were you sat there worrying? At what point were you sat there worrying, thinking, "Oh bollocks"?
Ward Prowse, mate. That handball will have been 2-2.
Honestly, when that happened, I thought, "Oh shit, here we go."
Right,
here we go.
I'm going to get onto that. By the way, just for context, when I say they ain't no, this is their first game.
No, go on, Lawless, keep picking them up. Keep picking them up. Go on.
No, it's their first, because we see it last season, right? Nottingham Forest, their first game in the Prem at home. We had them, right? And it was a big occasion, right? It was like a cup final. And same way here, it's a big occasion. It's their first game in that stadium in the Premier League. Yeah, this was always going to be a potential banana skin. It was always going to be, to me, that was the test. And we said this before. Scott said it on our preview. This is Moyes' biggest test of the season. Because, it's great. If you can, do you know why? Because we sit there at Chelsea, right? Chelsea, Brighton. We showed what we can do against teams that are happy to have the ball, right? Happy to have all the possession. We hit them on the counter. We dominated the possession in this game, and we still won. We played against a team that was happy to give up the ball. So we had an answer for it. That is the big key for me, is that we ain't just going to be a one-trick pony, right? We can, rock up and be big-time Charlies, but when a team comes to us and they want to say, no, you have the ball, Do we have a response? Do we have an answer? And I will tell you something about this handball, because I've said it, everyone else, oh, you lucky, you do handball. That was not handball. Under the letter
I don't think anyone watched the
law.
game. I don't think.
What's that?
I don't think anyone watched the game to even debate.
I
the
watched
handball.
West Ham fan TV. As soon as they got the one back, I switched off and I went straight to West Ham fan TV. And then when it happened, I was like, "Oh, this could be golden." But then obviously, I agree. It was. I agree, Lawless. I do agree. But I don't think it was.
Letter of the law, man. It's the letter of the law.
It wasn't a
what I mean?
handball,
People
but
in the
we've seen them given, man. We've seen them given.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it right. Just because we've seen them given doesn't make it any
Nervy,
more.
was it a bit nervy? Oh, we could draw to Luton. This is our biggest night. You've just said it's the biggest test. Oh, could draw this one.
But
No,
it was
they're
nervy
top
at the
four
end.
contenders.
People are looking at Luton, right? I looked at them and I see something there. I saw something in that team. Everyone's writing them off. I saw some fight and I saw spirit. Yeah. And if they can get their finishing down, I think they have a chance of staying up. A chance. I'm not saying I think they will, but everyone's writing them off. Write them off at your peril. And people want to go, oh, it's Luton. I'm telling you, Luton away, that little ground, you're having to go through, up the stairs, past Doris's house. She's doing her washing up, and all of this stuff.
Oh, the police are coming for you, Lawless, mate. You hear the sirens? You hear the sirens at the back of my gaff, mate. They're all honestly, I feel like you're here as a mole or some kind of you've been put here.
He's a plant.
He's a plant. He's an industry plant. That's what he is. He's an industry plant. Come here to rustle us every week.
He should be Prime Minister. I'd love Lawless as Prime Minister. I'd fucking love him as
Listen, I went on the Luton fan channel ahead of the game and listen.
Oh, that's why then. We know now. He's made friends over there and now he's bigging them up. That's what it is.
No, because they gave me an insight and he said, they're all you lazy pundits out there who are just writing them off and predicting them to go down.
I'd love them to stay up. Love it.
Yeah, they're your second team. Of course you would. Well, I'd say second team. I don't know how many fucking second teams you got. Newcastle, Aston Villa, Brighton, Luton. Jesus Christ.
Not West Ham. That's all I know.
You got more teams than European trophies, mate. Honestly.
Not West Ham is what my second team
clearly
is.
not. Clearly not. But
that's for sure.
I said,
just like yours is not Arsenal, even though you talk about us enough. Arsenal definitely not yours.
3 on the spin. Yeah, we got Man City. I think we are right now perfectly set up to play Man City. Do I think we'll win? No. But I think
how's it taken 1 hour, 41 minutes and 30 odd fucking seconds? And that's the first thing of actual sense you've said. Why do I have to wait that long for you to talk some real shit?
I talk a lot of sense. You just got to pay attention, Errol. You just got to pay attention. You got to read between the lines. You got to look under the surface, Errol. You ain't got to look under the surface.
You've been saying in the accent. That's why, Errol. You can't, all these accents he does. That's why.
That's what it must be, Maz.
Yeah.
See, I'm a man of many accents, a man of many talents. And I think West Ham are going to
try to do at the end of the season. I'm going to make you do an accent on all of us and see which one you get spot on or closest to.
We should. We'll let people. Rate in the chat. I tell you what. Yeah, like them. I think Maz and Pete have the hardest accent. I don't know. Pete is probably a bit doable. It's like Stoke accent or something, isn't it? I just have to watch loads of Phil the Power Taylor interviews or something.
Pete, he's never been anywhere near. Pete, he's been nowhere near Stoke, obviously.
Never been outside.
Clearly. What
were you like at geography, Lawless?
Listen, I've been Stoke away. I didn't talk to anyone up there, but it's a pretty
clearly you did. Fucking hell, man.
That sounds like Mike. He sounds like Michael Owen to me a bit. He sounds a bit like Michael Owen.
Don't fucking say that. He's a white. Don't you fucking dare. Michael Owen is a prick.
Pass it on.
Listen.
But does anyone now think, someone in the chat, I'm just going to put this out, when I finish on this, right? Because Potts likes to throw this out. Oh, it's a disgrace to put West Ham 10th, apparently. Oh, it's a disgrace, right? When I said, and this is shout out to whoever said this in the chat, people watch, people pay attention. There's a lot of people out there that really pay attention to what we say, pay attention to what I say, right? When I said West Ham would finish 7th, you all laughed like it was the craziest prediction ever. Like it was, oh my God, 7th, right? So
at
you
the time it was.
at the time. Well, at the time you was wrong. Yeah, and now I will give you a
How?
chance to apologize
What?
early.
It's 4 games, Lawless.
Oh,
Okay,
lads.
it's 4 games. All right, I'm giving you a chance to get your stocks in early, right?
I don't
Get
want
your
to. I
apologies
don't
in
want
early.
to.
Yeah, I don't
want to.
Wow.
I'm happy.
Okay,
I've made my bed.
Okay.
I lie in that
Because
shit.
guess what?
Man, you lot right over there. I pray that you finish in the top 7, yo. For your sake, for your health and well-being, I pray
You don't
that
want
that's
it,
where you
man.
finish. Because if
You don't want that.
if you don't, I will jump on the Liverpool to Euston train and come find you. I will find you, bro. I will. I did it last season. I will do it again at the end of this season. I will come find you and we will have a conversation face to face.
No, because even if we finished 8th, you're going to look like clowns because you thought it was the craziest thing that we could finish 7th. You all thought it was mad, like that. I could imagine that West Ham could finish above Aston Villa or Brighton or Chelsea or Newcastle. Oh, how could he believe he's going to finish
At
above
the
those
time,
teams?
it was a stupid thing to say.
But now it's not, is it, Billy? Now it's not.
Yeah, it's still
Yeah,
is.
fair play
Hey,
to you.
hey.
You've surprised a few of us, me included. You're playing all right,
Because I
or
saw
you're
it,
getting
Billy.
results. You're
No,
getting
look,
results. No,
we
you
will
didn't.
we will soon find out at the Christmas drinks how we're doing this.
Lawless, though.
Let's see. Yeah.
Let me say one thing, Lawless. Do you think, right, Newcastle below you, Chelsea, Man United, Villa, Brentford, yeah, and Brighton and Arsenal all below you? Do you think any of those clubs can not finish above you this season?
I'm not saying they could. What I'm saying is
Yeah, so-
that
so
Kaz,
why
Kaz
is-
thinks you can. Big up Kaz, man. Kaz
thinks, man, you were going to win the league. So I'll take what you say.
Oh, don't put words in
Kaz
Kaz's
is
mouth. that
very
he
pro
can't
Man U, very
defend.
pro Man U.
No, but I'm
But
not.
everywhere.
I'm not saying it's
That's a
crazy
lie,
to
Jordan.
think that those teams could finish above us. I'm saying that you're crazy for thinking I'm crazy for thinking that we could finish 7th. We could finish above those teams. Like you guys thought it was crazy deluded to think that we
Lawless,
had a
what
chance.
teams can you not? What teams on this panel can you not finish above?
Man City.
Yeah,
Say it,
Look,
Lawless,
we're
you
above
don't want
Arsenal
to.
now, right? Let me, big up the Arsenal. I don't think we'll finish above Arsenal. Man United's looking shaky. Let's put Man United back in the mix. Liverpool, I don't think we'll finish above Liverpool.
You've got a second, so if you finish above us, you've won the league.
It hurts me. Oh, fuck off! All right, you
but
have
that's
a
your-
good chance.
That was your prediction. You put us
No,
second.
I said I think you have a good chance. I'm not.
No,
It's not
in the
set in
predictions,
stone.
you put us second in your prediction. Or have you lost
I
that memory?
think-
yeah. You're forgetting, Lawless. You're forgetting what you said,
put
man.
us
All right,
second.
all right.
If you
No, but I
finish
just said
above
we're
us-
not gonna. I said we're not gonna finish above you. I just said that, and I do think. Let me just say this, and I hate to say it. This is gonna kill me to say it. I can't see us finishing above Spurs. I think Spurs finish above West Ham and Arsenal. I hate to say it,
What about
but
Newcastle?
without Europe,
And
without
Arsenal.
Europe, yeah, I
Where
think
we
Spurs
finishing
finish
then?
above.
What about Newcastle, Lawless?
I think we can finish above Newcastle. Like I said, as it stands, I know I don't want to be knee jerk, but that Champions League is going to take a heavy toll. So I think, I think I don't think it's crazy to think we finish above Newcastle at all. I think that's achievable. I think all of those teams are.
Can I just say, this guy talks absolute crap because he said that when Harry Kane leaves Tottenham, they're in a relegation battle. Now they're finishing above Arsenal. What's going on
I said
here?
they could be. I said they could. I said this is what you and Tobes don't listen. I never said they will be in a relegation battle. I said they could. It can go one or two ways, and unfortunately for us, it's going the wrong way. It's so far now. And you've still got tests to pass and all of that stuff. It's early doors for Ange.
100%.
You know, injuries, how he copes with pressure, all of that stuff, right? It's all going smooth now. But as it stands, I think the no Europe thing, they're out of the Carabao Cup, right? You know, which is Spursy. I think there's a good chance now, playing one game a week up until Christmas, they can rack up a decent amount of points. They're playing good football. Again, it hurts to say. I can say it a little bit more comfortably.
You're saying this because Tobes ain't on. If Tobes was on here, you would never be saying this. You would never be shameless enough to say it. Innit? You lads know last season, them two were at it every single week. Now he's off. I tell you what, I'll just pick up Tottenham a bit. I think you'll finish above Arsenal. I reckon Arsenal, you'll probably finish above West Ham. Arsenal be down with us somewhere. I tell you what, I hope they are absolutely in the mud.
Honestly,
I swear
No.
to God, man.
That's my genuine opinion based on the first
So
four
where are
games.
Tottenham
and
going to finish then now in your deluded little league?
I think they could get.
Pots.
I
This
think
is
they could get
unbelievable.
5th or 4th. Listen, let's
What,
take our
where are
bias
we going to come
aside.
then? 7th. Arsenal going to come 7th.
No, I think you could. I think you'll. No, listen. I think you'll probably come 5th and get the Champions
Pikachu's
League that
back.
way.
Pikachu's on.
But no, listen, Pots. Let's just take our. But we hate Spurs. We hate Spurs. Let's just.
I do.
Right,
come
just
on,
take
man. You
that
can't come on
aside.
there and start bigging them up now. What's going on?
No, but listen, we got to take that out. Let's try and be neutral, fucking observers, right? And everyone here, Spurs are looking a little bit worrying with the 1 game a week. The rest of us, the rest of us are in Europe. Yeah, everyone here. Yeah, we're all in Europe. We've all got.
That's why we're on the show, bro.
Hence the race for Europe. I'm gutted I wasted my monologue to give you the floor for this waffle and bullshit, by the way. I the floor for this?
Let's see in it. Because I'm just saying, right. I'm just saying, Spurs. You think I want to big up Spurs? Do you think I want to predict them to be up in the fucking lofty heights of the top 4? No, I want to finish above those bastards. But I'm a little bit concerned. That's all I'm.
Who would you rather finish above, Lawless, Arsenal or Spurs?
Do you know what? Why did you have to ask me that? Right?
It's always
This
been Spurs,
season-
but he'll say Arsenal now because we've nicked his captain.
This season, it's not even because of that, it's because of the way you lot have talked. But could you imagine West Ham finish above Arsenal after fucking right? Oh, look, he's had to come to us so he can compete and he can be up there. And we finish above them. It would be so sweet to humble their fans. Their fans do need some humbling. I wish you didn't have to ask me that question, Dan United, because now their fans are going to go crazy in the chat. But look, this season, listen, we've got the trophy. We've already beat Spurs. We won the trophy, right? That's done. We won that battle. Now, let's see. I don't think we will finish above Arsenal. It's going to be very tough. But like I said, we're happy to, challenge for Europe, see what we can do in the Europa League. We've got to a semi-final. Can we go a step further?
Do you win another trophy this season?
Listen, we've got the taste now. Wait, will we? Did you say will we or can we?
Both.
What the fuck? Can we? Yes.
I think I said will you? Will you win a trophy this season?
No. He means he's going to say no, but he don't want to say no. He's going to sit there and go, oh well, maybe.
All right, no, listen.
You don't go for trophies domestically, man. So you're gonna have to win the Europa League. You told me already you'd rather come 7th than come 15th and win a domestic cup. So
in my loins, I feel a trophy. Right, I feel a trophy deep in my loins. I feel the feeling of trophiness. I feel like we could get another trophy. I feel like it. Obviously,
who'd have thought it? And Moyes, a serial trophy winner. Who'd have thought it?
Sometimes you just need that first. You need that first one. Get that done. Listen, it all depends on our run. What draws we get. We've got decent draw in Europa League because obviously we've got a high coefficient in Europe. We've got European cachet, so we've got a favourable group. I know Brighton, Newcastle, Villa. They haven't got that, so they got more difficult groups. But we've got a favourable group. And we get the draws after that. Who knows? We just got to go and see what we can do, man. And then
let's see.
It's all up in the air. All possibilities there. Look, we could come crashing and falling on our face. It could happen. All possibilities are open.
We will be there. We will be there.
Be there. But write us off at your peril. Start looking at us as contenders. None of this dismissing us and looking like we're so beneath Brighton, Newcastle, and Villa. That's what I want to stop. I'm just here to end the disrespect. I'm not here to call us Premier League challengers and all of this stuff. People misunderstand me. I'm not here to put us on a pedestal, but don't think that these teams who have been here for 5 minutes and a cup of coffee, are so far above West Ham.
Did you hear that, man? Did you hear that? You're just here for a cup of coffee, bro. You're just here for a cup of coffee, mate.
No, I said that's what he's been here for. Let them do it. Let's see them do it like we've done it 3 seasons in a row. Let's see their 3 seasons, right? We've got 3 seasons under our belt. Let's see what Villa get. Let's see what Brighton get. Let's see what they'd have 3 seasons before you sit there
you've got to remember as well, you're well more established than, let's say, like Brian, we've been in the Premier League 5 years, bro.
No, I'm not even knocking you, but listen, I'm not knocking, and I agree. Like, yeah, we are, and all of that stuff, but it's Potts and his ilk that sit there and want to prop you up like that.
Me again, apparently.
I want you to enjoy the ride, Maz, and genuinely, from me to you, because it's Brighton, I want you guys to stay there and get that European football and enjoy.
Don't believe it, Maz. Don't believe it. He does this. Don't believe it.
I want that.
Do you want me to enjoy the ride?
He done this with Pete last year. Look how he's treating Pete, by the way. This last 4 weeks, look how he's treated Pete. Pete was getting this. Oh, Newcastle. I used to support Newcastle when I was 4. I love Newcastle. And now he's absolutely rinsing him 4 weeks in. Oh, Newcastle, they're looking a bit poor anyhow. Might even go. Blah, blah, blah.
Notes.
Pete, that's why when this guy Potts, right, starts waxing lyrical about your teams, right, shout him down. Tell him to shut up, because he's what's bringing it on. He's what's causing it. He's putting the smoke on and the heat on your teams. Listen, yeah, I've got 2 of those as well.
Pikachu with the flip-flop attack.
I'm just saying, blame Potts. He knows what he's doing. He's setting you guys up for a fall. And I want you guys to not have the pressure on your shoulders. I want you to just enjoy the ride.
Which,
you know, putting there going, oh, Brighton are going to do this and Newcastle are going to do that. And there's so much. But no, shut up, Potts, man. Just let people enjoy it. You're there. You've got some European away days.
If you don't do well this season, it's my fault, Maz. All right,
Brighton are going to probably be in Europe longer than Newcastle, unless Newcastle finish 3rd, which I think is a possibility. I think we could see Newcastle in the Europa League. Which I think you do know
Liverpool are probably going to win the Europa League, don't you? And you're going to be
shut up.
Don't even bring us back into this conversation. Let him have his moments. Let him do his thing.
Oh my god!
Not once has he mentioned Liverpool. He's mentioning, we're in the Europa League. Brighton, enjoy it. Villa, enjoy it. Newcastle, you might be down there.
I'm sorry. There's nothing to say that Liverpool are definitely going to win it, right? No
one said that. No,
you've got a good chance. Of course you have. Yeah, of course you do know that Liverpool are probably going to win.
I've said Villa will win it.
I expect us to win it, and I've said that from day dot. I expect us to win it, and I expect Klopp and his team to take it deadly serious. We're not going to fuck around in the Europa League. Does that mean that we will win it? No, anything can happen.
Just know that Potts loves to put pressure on everyone's teams but his own. Just know that. He's put pressure on your shoulders to win this. He's put pressure on Villa's shoulders to win the conference. And he's putting pressure on
I've already told him.
How's he putting pressure on our shoulders?
Potts already knows. I've told him this season was always... Arteta backed himself into a wall this season. He done himself... Doing what he did last season.
Pressure on him.
You ain't got pressure on your players, have you? Where's the pressure on the players?
He knows what he's doing.
You ain't got pressure on the players. They're innocent. It's all Arteta's fault. It's all Arteta. Hey, what's he doing? Changing the tactics. Oh, it's his fault. Oh, it's not the players. It's Arteta changing the tactics. Bloody tactics.
Well, listen.
Someone got an accents counter.
Lawless, if you ever thought about doing that CBD's good night bedtime stories, I think you'd be fucking killer for that, mate. Always accents, mate. You'd be killer.
Talk to my agent.
Right, let's end this, man, because listen, we've been going way too long, my friends. Big up everybody, though. Big up everyone for coming on. Big up everyone for listening. We had nearly touching 950 people at one stage. That's amazing. So make sure you'll do us a favor and like the stream. We should be getting close to 12K now, people. So please make sure you're part of that community. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you go follow all these guys, man. All of these are putting out content every single day and need to be followed. Make sure you go and follow United First, Total Screamers, Seagull Social, Loaded Mag. Go follow Error One Redmen TV and Solidez Side Up. And if you really want to put yourself through absolute pure pain, then go over to West Ham Fan TV and at The Lawless and go banter him on Twitter, because that is where you will find him. Make sure you do that, people. We will be back tomorrow night around about 10 o'clock, where we'll be getting some of our regulars on that you all know and love really well. Make sure you go and check over the Patreon of Bread and Honey Bets, who yet again won money at the weekend. These guys are smashing it. Make sure you're a part of it. Until then, we'll see you next time. Take it easy. Yes, people, listen up. Do you want an easy way to make money? Check out Bread and Honey Bets now. with an incredible win ratio. Do not miss this chance. This is highly recommended by myself after a very successful win ratio. With betting tips from professionals on your favourite sports such as boxing, MMA, Formula One and football. Check it out for yourself for only £10 a month with guaranteed return on investment. Check out Bread and Honey Bets now on the Patreon or follow the link in the description. Check it out, people.